my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to it. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, live right here on SABC3. Thank you so much for choosing to wake up on the right side of bed and joining us. Now, we're discussing acne this morning, which is the most common of all the skin disorders and affects millions and millions of people all over the world. We've all experienced mild acne at some point in our lives. I know, and I can tell you a story or two about it. It can affect teenagers as they grow up. Some are fortunate to outgrow it, while others will still have acne throughout adulthood. Now, with the help of our trusted medical professional, Dr. Darren Green, and dermatologist Dr. Nomphelo Gantsho, we uncover what causes acne, how to avoid it, and most importantly, how we can treat it.
Yeah, all right,
Thank
great
you so
to
much,
have
guys.
you here, doctors.
Morning.
This morning when we were discussing the topic in the makeup room, all I could ever think about was like, oxycute him with Oxy-10, like the ads we used to get back in the day when it comes to acne. Yeah. But let's talk about firstly, who gets acne and how is it that some people get it more often? Like teenagers, for instance. I'm assuming the hormone imbalance, teenagehood, that's the big association.
No, your association is 100%. The influx of hormones, the rush of the change, and a lot of it under the influence of the androgynous hormones and testosterone specifically. As well. And then obviously there's a surge and a balance as we move towards the fertile years when girls go through their first menstruation and stuff. You have quite a significant change, and the impact of those hormones and what it does to the skin turnover and sebum production is massive. But I'm sure Dr. Gantsho knows a lot more about that.
Yeah. Why do we get acne, Dr. Gantsho?
So what happens for one to get acne, there's different stages involved, like the hormone production, and then on your hair follicles, you have sebaceous glands there. So those hormones makes the sebaceous glands to produce more oil, which we call sebum. And then from that, you get your pores being blocked, and then there is inflammation going on, and there's also a bacteria involved. Yeah. And also there is a genetic predisposition as well. If your parents had acne, so chances that you'll get acne as well are high.
Yeah. See, it's up to 80% the transmission rate in first generation relatives. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So if your parents had high prevalences of acne, you are most likely to have that. And we'll get into the ways in which you can kind of curb that. But in terms of the things you can control, what you eat, can that also contribute to a great extent to the prevalence of acne on your skin?
Yeah, so trans fats and sugars are massive on that list as well. And also, you must think about preparing food. We often forget that while preparing food on a stove, with the oil vapors that come off, actually then settle on the skin while you're actually cooking. So that can also lead to significant changes. And then obviously you need to consider dairy. Everyone thinks the association of milk and dairy causing acne is the problem. It's actually the hormones in the cow's milk that are more associated with the changes.
Yeah. Another thing that I can add on when it comes to sugar, so you have your sugar, you have your white bread and your white rice. So what they do, they cause, they change to insulin and insulin growth-like factors. One, so those activate your sebaceous glands as well to produce more of the oil, and then you can also get it. Yeah.
Wow, there are so many sort of ways in which we can get acne. Now, Dr. Gantsho, this is for you because Dr. Gantsho is actually my own personal dermatologist, and she has seen me at my worst with really the most hectic breakouts. And I've had this conversation with you before, is the different types and stages of acne. Because you get like the little ones, and then you get the really inflamed ones that look like they're about to give birth to funny creatures.
Wow, that's a very graphic picture, Tubbsy. Thank you.
What are these different stages? What's happening at each stage?
Let's just first talk about acne. So what we're looking at today is acne vulgaris. So there are different types of acne. So under acne vulgaris, you get your mild acne. With your mild acne, you basically get it's non-inflammatory, if we can put it like that. So you'll get those small comedones ones, they open in your blackheads. And your closed ones, and then you can get your papules. So we say less than 30, you can call it mild. And then you get your moderate acne. That's when now it's inflamed, and then you get over 30 to 100 lesions on your face, and then you get your nodular cystic acne. Then that's where you get those deep-seated cysts on your skin. Yeah, those ones as well. So.
Now, for people like us whose profession it is, or part of our profession is to wear makeup, and other people work in the makeup industry, or ladies generally that wear makeup every day, if you have acne, you know, depending on the varying degrees of it. Should you just stop wearing makeup completely just to kind of help your skin along? Is that a way of doing it, or are there makeup products that do help to relieve acne?
Okay, firstly, acne, most of makeup, most of them is oil-based.
Yes.
So that oil closes up your pores, and then you sweat under your makeup, so there's that bacteria involved and all of that.
Sure.
So if you are prone to getting acne, it's best don't put on the makeup or just use a powder, or immediately, if you really have to, just wash off your makeup.
Yeah,
make
as
sure
soon as
that
possible.
yes, make sure that you remove all your makeup. You don't go to bed with makeup or go and exercise with makeup.
Oh.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget about the process required to actually disinfect and clean makeup brushes in production. Because they use the brushes on the different...
different
so
actors,
you need-
different
There's a
models.
process that needs to happen. Unlike here, for example, they do it regularly.
Yes.
Where they dip them in something
Clean
and clean
them,
them for the
yeah.
bacteria
Yeah.
to not be transferred from one person's skin to the next.
All right, well, very, very interesting topic. Acne is what we are exploring today with our medical professionals. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with more as we delve deeper into that thing that Thabiso was describing.
It's called acne.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Hey, welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. The doctors are in the house. It's a Tuesday morning and we're discussing acne and inflammation and all these interesting kinds of topics. And of course, something that is very common, especially in teenage years. But for some unfortunate people, it can then progress into adulthood and become a very difficult thing to manage. And we've gone through the initial conversation. And I wanted to ask now, just delving into the second part, is that if you get acne, is that just maybe a clear indication that you're not keeping your face clean enough? Could it just be that?
No, so a lot of people think that it's a hygiene thing, but you need the underlying pathophysiology to happen. And there are different steps involved, like the increased turnover of cells. We mentioned, Dr. Gantsho mentioned the overproduction of sebum. She also then mentioned the blocking of the pores and then the bacterial presence that leads to the infection. So you need those things underlying first. The hygiene obviously can accentuate an already existing acne problem.
Oh, wow.
But it's not a causative factor. The Gantsho and I were laughing. She said, have you seen people that sleep on the streets? They don't have
They don't
acne.
have acne. They actually don't have acne.
Well. Yeah.
Okay, so if I do have acne, and let's say it's mild acne, and I want to, you know, sort of treat it at home and give it like a nice home remedy, what could help?
Okay, one of the things that is now currently being used is apple cider vinegar. So apple cider,
Apple cider vinegar, wow.
Yes, it is anti-inflammatory and it's also antibacterial. But you don't just pour it in and just use it on your
Yeah.
skin. You can
Might
use
burn.
it. You can use it as a toner. Yeah, it is very irritating. So you have to always dilute it. So if you have like a normal skin, you can do 1:4. Apple vinegar and then water, and then you use it as a toner. But then if you have sensitive skin, then you can mix it to 1:10. And then you
Okay.
can use that as a toner. Another thing that you can use is a coconut oil. So that one as well is anti-inflammatory and antibacterial as
And it
well.
gives you a nice glow.
Yep.
Hey, I love me some coconut oil, eh?
Is the oil like a wax coconut oil, or is it the one that actually flows like normal oil?
The one that flows is actually
Okay.
better because you can add other things like tea tree oil in it, and then that also helps.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Nice, nice.
Watch
So you
Mama
can
at
use
home now, just concocting
Finishing the groceries,
things.
basically.
You won't break the bank. That's what's
Yeah,
nice.
What about
everything,
this?
yeah.
Maybe this is turning into be like some kind of Mythbusters right now, but toothpaste on your pimples. Could that help clear it up, toothpaste?
We don't have science at the moment,
No, no.
to support that
Instead,
statement.
toothpaste does irritate your skin because it does have some soda in it as well, you know, for whitening the teeth and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
So it is a very
Fluoride,
big irritant to your skin. So never.
So that feeling you get when you put toothpaste and you feel like,
just goes
it's so
like,
refreshing, it's so
yeah.
cold. No, that's
then
the thing irritating your
gonna end up
skin.
with
Yeah, and
more
the burn from the
inflammation.
peppermint maybe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't
Here's,
do it.
here's the thing about when you've got acne, and from experience, is at first you might think that going to a dermatologist is the most extreme thing. So you always try these over-the-counter remedies and you try and find little things to sort yourself out. And I'm sure there are things that do work. What over-the-counter medication can I use if going to the dermatologist is not the stage where I feel I need to be, I'm at just yet?
Okay, so firstly, before I mention them, it's important that one doesn't go and buy all of them and use all of them.
Okay.
Because one risk with them is that they do irritate the skin because they have that drying effect. So the most common one is benzoyl peroxide. So what it does, it basically dries up the oil, cleans up those blocked pores, and then you have your salicylic acid. You can see most things will have salicylic acid, the cleansers that one uses. And then there is azelaic acid, which is nice and safe for pregnant ladies as well. And then there's a retin A as well. And yeah, those are like basically the ones, and sulfur as well.
Sorry, while we're on this, I've got to ask this because it's a big myth, but I've seen people do it, and I've been advised to do it, to get on it too. Getting on the pill, a contraceptive for men, does that help clear acne off a man's face? Getting on a female contraceptive pill?
Yeah, so for females it does work because with females they will tell you before their period they usually do get a breakout. So they can use the combination pill with estrogen and progesterone. So that's what does help them. But for males really it's not the same kind of hormones that they do produce. So there's no evidence for it.
And also just to mention just to research the history of breast cancer. Before starting on the oral contraceptive pill, looking at the associations of which contraceptive pill you're taking and the effect long-term on families that have a significant gene of breast cancer.
Yeah, so definitely be aware of that if you are going to be taking oral contraceptives in order to counteract the acne. All right, we still have a moment or two to chat with the doctors, and we will continue to do so very shortly.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
And we're back one more time with the doctors, Dr. Darren Green and Dr. Gantsho at Cape Skin Doctor. In case you were looking for her on social media, she's a dermatologist because we are discussing acne today as our primary focus. And I'm loving the comments that are coming through on social media as well.
Absolutely, but we'll start with the ones that we've actually prepped because we wanted to know while we get the ones on social media going. Someone's asking, will my acne ever go away? Can you get rid of acne quickly? Is it quite an immediate thing to sort out your acne?
Okay, so we said it's hormones.
Yeah.
So when it comes to treatment, there's no quick fix to it. So it usually takes about 4 weeks to see a difference, but if it's very bad, you can see like after 8 weeks, then you can start seeing the improvement on your skin. But there's no quick fix overnight thing. No,
so
not
set
at
your
all.
expectations. It is a long-term managed process. What about lifestyle changes that one needs to make in order to curb acne?
As I mentioned, just people that are just aware of how acne actually occurs, the 4 steps that we've mentioned. Understanding also the hygiene is not the main cause. You need a damaged barrier and the 4 subsectors that we've mentioned. Looking specifically at dealing with stress is very important. The regulation of your cortisol levels. Those cortisol, which is a steroid as such, is controlled by the way you manage stress. So tools to manage stress include lifestyle factors that I mentioned a little bit earlier.
Exercise, eating well, mindfulness.
There you go.
Sleep, rest.
Silencing
And
your mind.
don't forget to wash your face. Remember that makeup, the oil, and also your hair.
Yeah.
So if one has got long hair, the chemicals that they put in, those moisturizers, they do come into contact and they can irritate the face, and then your acne will flare up. So if possible, just cover up your hair.
Okay. Well, we've got a comment here and it's a question from Josephine Pickstone on Facebook, who says, good morning, doctors. I'm struggling with my son's face. I can't get rid of the acne. I've tried cleansers, I've tried moisturizer, but it looks like it won't work. I'm not sure, but I was told I must not use anything on his face. It'll just go away by itself. He's now been struggling with it for 2 years, and he's 14 years old. What's the story there?
The problem with acne, if it left for a very long time untreated, it scars. And you don't want your child to scar like that because it's difficult to treat the scars on the face. So 2 years is very long. If they've tried the over-the-counter things, they haven't worked, then it's best for them to go and see a dermatologist for professional help.
Absolutely. We were quickly discussing to pop or not to pop.
Yes,
that is the question.
No.
no,
Yes.
and no.
When
Even that's therapeutic for some people.
yeah, it does feel good, but the problem is when you are popping your pimple, remember there's inflammation, so you are irritating your skin, there's bacteria that is there, so you are also spreading all of that. And the problem is when you pop, you scar.
Pressure
So
control,
yeah,
you damage
it
the
feels
skin, yeah.
good that you're gonna pop and then it's all gone,
Yeah.
but then the results
side
of
effects
that
of
is
that.
bad.
Well, let's talk about scarring. How do
Yeah.
you treat acne scars? Because those can be quite stressful too. Because now you've dealt with the acne, and then now you've got the scars for a long time.
Yeah. So it's difficult to treat. That is why I'm saying rather go for a proper treatment so
Yeah.
that you can prevent your scarring. So if you happen to have scarring, you can use chemical peels. So chemical peels do help. If you just have the ice pick scarring, not so bad. And then you can go for needling. Needling helps to repair that collagen and the elastin. And you can go for fillers as well, so it's the injections just to try and lift up the scars, and you can also go for laser resurfacing. But then for everything, it's not just a once-off, and there's also always side effects to everything.
But tell me if I'm wrong. My first thought is to say that whatever the challenge is, the first point of contact should be to see a professional, because otherwise you might be causing much more damage than what you actually are currently sitting with.
That's true.
And the emotional scarring is the other thing that we tend to ignore when it comes to acne.
Yeah.
So remember that it affects people's social lives, their relationships quite adversely, and your whole identity can be affected by it.
Yeah.
Our thanks to both Dr. Darren Green and to Dr. Nomphelo Gantsho. You can find both of them on social media at Dr. Darren Green and at Cape Skin Doctor. I love that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.